Field. Welcome to interleague play. Rockies at Toronto Blue Jays this afternoon from 20th and Blake. The Rockies have captured the first two ball games of this series, so they have an opportunity to sweep Toronto and continue their winning ways against the American League. They're 4-1 so far this year, taking on the AL. Welcome, everybody, with Jeff Houston. I'm Drew Goodman. The pitching matchup today, Jeff Francis, ironically, who is Canadian by birth and remains a Canadian citizen. It's not like he's left or anything like that, but he'll be on the mound for the Colorado Rockies. And Jesse Litsch will be making his return to the big leagues. He had Tommy John surgery.
Yeah, he got hurt last year in April and only made 2 starts, 9 innings during that time. Made 6 rehab appearances, a couple down in A-ball, 4 in AAA. So it's going to be interesting to see how he goes out there and throws. He's not an overpowering guy, a guy that's going to wow you with his fastball. He tries to cut it, he'll sink it, it goes with the changeup, the slider. And it's going to be a kind of a battle of nerves for him as he goes out there and makes his first big league start. Of course, on the other side, you got Jeff Francis, a veteran guy. In his last outing against the Houston Astros, 7 innings, he only gave up 2 runs. And the thing with Jeff, he had a chance to win that ball game. Unfortunately, the bullpen wasn't able to hold it. But it was a key for him because he was able to get his fastball over, to get to his sliders, to get to his changeups, and use that pinpoint control. The problem with Jeff in a couple of his outings has been right around the 80 to 90 pitch mark. What happens? The ball gets elevated a little bit. The last time, he was so clean through those 6 or 7 innings that he barely got above the 80 pitch mark. And when you're going against a club like the Toronto Blue Jays, very free swingers, guys that like to try to hit home runs, he's got to be able to hit his spots to get to some of those off-speed pitches that I talked about. The numbers that the Blue Jays throw up there against left-handed pitching is not very good, though.
I'm chuckling because you and I were looking at it, and we did the double check and the triple check. You said, "Are you kidding me? They're
and the
awful."
Quadruple check.
Yeah,
that bad.
They've been awful, at least numerically, against left-handed pitching. Hopefully that continues this afternoon. We'll talk a little bit more about offense when we come back. Rockies and Blue Jays moments away. practice all 3 days was conducted indoors, but it looks like they're going to get this one in. Last night, the Rockies won 1-0 behind 8 outstanding innings from Jason Hamill. The Rockies very tight as they get ready for a potential sweep. As you can see that dugout, very serious faces.
Real serious.
That's what you want. You want a loose bunch getting ready to go. Well, we had an opportunity to talk to Jim Tracy earlier this morning about his lineup because he's had to mix and match and move guys around, and it's not exactly what he'd like to do.
Stability is what I believe in. Stability is something that when you have it, you grab a hold of it and you run with it. But unfortunately, the word managing, part of what goes into that is creativity. That when what you just mentioned, you know, you're banged up a little bit, you lose your right fielder for a period of time, you lose your shortstop. You know, not everyone can hit third or fourth. So depending upon how your ball club is at that particular point in time, you have a couple of days where you're going to be without a Troy Tulowitzki, let's say Drew or a Brad Hopp. You can't just unplug Troy Tulowitzki or Brad Hopp and stick Johnny Herrera's name in there. I mean, that's not going to work. So you've got to move some of the chess pieces around.
Hey, it's not ideal, but that's part of sports, and hopefully the Rockies can reach a point this year where they can just roll out a lineup every day.
That would be nice, but it hasn't been possible for a couple different reasons. You've had some injuries, but you had an offense that's not performed up to what Jim Tracy expects or anybody else, so that's why he's had to do what he's done.
All right, time for our Wells Fargo player to bank on. Who do you like today?
Well, today I like Ryan Spilborghs, and you're thinking, wait a second, they got a right-hander out on the mound, and Ryan Spilborghs, Seth Smith should be the guy, but Ryan, with what he's been able to do this homestand, including the home runs, you sit there and go, I'm going to ride the hot hand for a little bit. This right-hander is not overpowering, so Jim Tracy says, let me go ahead and run him out there for 2 or 3 straight days, see if we can get some sort of offense clicking and really make everybody else in that lineup just a little bit better. So that's why my guy is Ryan Spilborghs today.
The Wells Fargo player to bank on, Ryan Spilborghs. The Rockies trying to sweep the Blue Jays. Come on back to 20th and Blake with us. Baseball on FSN is brought to you by Quest high-speed internet. Get blazing fast speeds that won't burn up your wallet. By E470. E470 is easy to use and adds value to your life. And by the Ford Super Duty, built stronger, tougher, better, built Ford tough. Drive one. Well, the Rain should move out just as the Rockies move on to Minneapolis. That's just the way things have worked this weekend. It is another cool day at the ball yard, but for the first time in several days, we can see blue sky, at least a little bit of it, overhead. Jose Bautista, who leads the American League, tied for the American or Major League lead in home runs with 18, is hitting in the leadoff spot. Not the first time this year, the 11th time. He'll be followed by Aaron Hill and Adam Lind, two guys that have struggled offensively this year. Then Vernon Wells, Alex Gonzalez, Lyle Overbay. John Buck is hitting left-handed pitching. Edwin Encarnacion and Jesse Litsch. First pitch is brought to you by Domino's Pizza. And swung on and missed. Strike one. Text keyword pizza followed by a space in your name to 95323 to receive your Domino's special offer to be entered to win a pizza party for 15. One weekly winner. And that pitch is outside, 1-1. So Jeff Francis facing Toronto for the second time in his career. And you know it's special for him.
Last time back in 06. I think this is just a snapshot of the difference between the American League and the National League when you can put a guy like Bautista in the leadoff spot.
You know, you and I, again, we looked at each other and said, man, that's a little bit surprising. And he's been there on 10 other occasions. But even though he's a free swinger and his average is only 231, and you figure you want him in the middle of the order, so maybe if he connects, he's got some traffic in front of him. He has walked 40 times. His on-base percentage is pretty good. He will not walk anywhere but back to the dugout this time, though. He's a strikeout to begin things for Jeff Francis. Let's take a look at the scouting report on the Vancouver, BC native.
6 start for Mr. Francis. Fastball we just saw at 86, 87. Changeup 78 to strike out Bautista. Where he's been real good, though, is the number 5 and 6 hole hitters, just hitting 167 against him.
All right, I know we talked about this during the Open, but this is the 14th game that Toronto's faced a lefty starter, and their numbers overall, they're 5 and 8. That's not horrible, but their batting average is a collective 183. Aaron Hill, for instance, 098. 4 for 41. This is an all-star last year.
And that's what's shocking about it. It's not 10 or 12, 15 at bats. We're talking 40 at bats, and yeah, a lot of guys hitting right along the Mendoza line, if not below it. Only guy is Buck that has anything.
Now there's a base hit for Hill. It's almost as if he wanted to say, hey, back at you.
I heard you.
That's just his 5th hit against a lefty all year, a 1-out double.
Able to stay on the changeup from Jeff and hit it away. It was up. That was the only problem with it. If he works down into the zone, Hill will roll over on that or hit a ground ball to second base. That time it was up, got those arms extended, and hit his 6th double this year.
So this is Adam Lind at the plate. He's hitting 109 left on left, 7 for 64. And that's in there for a strike on Lind. I mean, one of the guys that actually has been fairly productive against lefties is Fred Lewis. I mean, he has a 265 average, but he's not in the lineup today.
Yeah, I was a little surprised that he wasn't there, and maybe Lind takes the day off. And Lind a lot of times will be the DH for the Toronto Blue Jays, but just looking at those numbers, and that way you still have some speed at the top of the lineup with Fred Lewis instead of Bautista. Cito Gaston, it's his club to manage. He knows his players better than we do.
Fouled off 1-2. Cito's club will head on tonight to San Diego to take on the Padres Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Padres continue to play good baseball, beating up on the Mariners the last couple of days. Padres, like the Rockies, are 4-1 in interleague play. Here's the 1-2. Well, Jeff has the ability, like an artist, to shave corners.
Well, and he has to. He has to be able to do that and use those corners to his advantage. That Southwest Guide Camp showed that was just a little bit off the plate, but those are the type of pitches that you can start a slider more on the middle and work it away if you want.
This is in the air off the end of the bat to medium range right field. Hop ready himself to throw, and there's no tag by Aaron Hill with 1 out already recorded. That is the 2nd out. That'll bring up Vernon Wells, and we glance at the Rockies defense. Spilborghs is in left. Cargo's in center. Brad Hoppin right. Stewart and Barmas left side. Herrera and Helton on the right side. Iannetta doing the catching for Olivo. Troy Tulowitzki being given another day off. Is available if needed to pinch hit. He wanted to go today, but the Rockies felt, and we talked about this last night, that with just a minor groin strain, if you can give him Saturday, Sunday, tomorrow's an off day, he's rearing to go Tuesday.
Well, and the other thing, too, a lot of rain here. So even though the tarp has been on the infield looks fabulous. There's going to be some soft spots into the outfield. So what if he goes out there and makes a play and then tries to plant and pulls that groin a little bit more? I know he wanted to go, but it's a wise thing, and let him just get ready for Minnesota on Tuesday.
Wells takes the off-speed pitch down. Ball 1 on Vernon. He's hitting just 200 against lefties. Overall, his numbers are great. Around 300, 15 home runs, 40 RBIs. A lot of his damage has happened in Toronto. He's hitting just 228 out on the road.
Well, Toronto are just perfect conditions because, first of all, they have the dome, and the backdrop in Toronto is one of the best to hit from. You pick up the ball, whether it's righty, lefty, it doesn't matter. You see the ball, you got that artificial turf or fake grass, whatever you want to call it. Just conditions are perfect to hit.
Francis not giving in on the 2-0 count. He throws a changeup 3-0. From the first pitch of this at bat, I think it's one of those deals, I may be wrong, that Jeff's looking in the on-deck circle and saying, I have a base open. I'd rather deal with Gonzalez and Wells, even though it's first inning.
And that's why Chris went out and talked to Jeff right before Vernon came up to hit. And they were explaining and talking about that exact thing.
So Vernon Wells goes to first base, and with 2 outs, Alex Gonzalez steps up.
And the other thing, too, Drew, is you set up the force at any base. Chris right now is telling the infielders, okay, if they decide to try to double steal, which I doubt they would, but you always have to be prepared in case they do. Where are we going to throw the ball? Are we going to throw it to third, or are we going to throw it behind the runner and try to get Vernon Wells out at second base?
And this is lifted to left field, and it's right at Ryan Spilborghs. He'll make the catch, and you get the guy you wanted to get. So Jeff Francis walks to the dugout. We'll see the Rockies bats when we come back. Jesse Litsch, who's making a return to the big leagues after being out really the last year and a half. Jonathan Herrera will lead things off again for the Rockies as he did last night. Todd Helton swung the bat very well last night. A double off the top of the wall on a line single. Carlos Gonzalez will be next. He's got the batting average at 300. Then Brad Hopp, Ryan Spilborghs. Rockies continue to play the hot hand, even against the right-handed pitcher Litsch. Ian Stewart, Chris Iannetta, Clint Barmas, and then Jeff Francis. That's presented by Southwest.com. So here's Jesse Litsch making his first pitch since last April in the big leagues. And that is in there for a strike. Litsch, a native Floridian, former 24th round draft pick. And 2 years ago, when he was healthy, he won 13 ball games with an ERA of 3.58.
Yeah, 28 starts for him, 176 innings.
And after getting 2 quick strikes, Johnny Herrera hits a bullet back up the middle. So Herrera with his second hit since his return to the big leagues.
Let's take a look at the scouting report for Jesse Litsch. And fastball is going to be 89 and 93. It's going to be a little bit interesting, too, because these numbers are the ones I pulled from a couple years ago. So you would think with the Tommy John surgery, everything's healthy. Should be back to those numbers. Throws a cutter as well, mainly into lefties, sometimes to righties, changeup and curveball. Underwent surgery last June. He tried to rehab that forearm strain first and said, you know what, it's not working. I'm going to go ahead and have the surgery.
Well, Litsch is aggressive. You have to be ready to hit. 2 years ago, in 176 innings, he walked only 39.
Well, he only struck out 99. So it just shows you he's a contact guy.
And that's in there for a strike 0-2. Our first Colorado Lottery replay of the day. Last night, Todd Helton in the 4th inning. Hit one to deep right center. And I mean, this came literally within a half an inch of going out. And if it hit a half an inch short, it was a home run. A half inch the other way, it's a home run. Colorado Lottery replay from now until June 30th. Replaying of your non-winning scratch tickets and a second chance drawing at coloradolottery.com. Todd's 4 for 11 since being moved to the 2-hole. His favorite line when asked about being moved around the lineup in the last couple of years, as long as I'm not hitting ninth.
Just don't hit me ninth. There was that little cutter I talked about where he tries to work it underneath the hands of the left-handed hitter, get you to look like it's going to be a fastball, and then when you go to swing, it kind of disappears.
How do you pick up the cutter as a hitter?
Well, if you're facing Mariano Rivera, not very well. It is a difficult pitch to try to hit. Because when you go to swing at it, you've already committed to it, and it's too late, and it just moves in on your hand because it looks like a fastball. Doesn't look like a slider, just looks like a fastball.
Two and two. Herrera draws a throw. Johnny has, you know, in football they say he has functional football speed. He has functional baseball speed. He's not a flyer.
No, he runs well underway is what it's called, because he can go first to third or score from second to home, but try to steal bases, that's not really his strong suit. But if he gets a ball in the dirt, he can advance easily.
2-2, and Todd rolls this one foul. Let's take a look at Toronto's alignment defensively. Adam Lind is in left field, Vernon Wells in center, and Jose Batista is in right. Encarnacion is at third, Gonzalez and Hill up the middle, Lyle Overbay, John Buck. This foul into the seats. This is one of the few guys, Huey, that the Rockies have faced in a while, and maybe, you know, talking about the trend in baseball this morning with Jim Tracy tilting towards pitchers and a lot of great young arms, and there aren't many guys that anymore you see that don't have wicked stuff or seemingly are throwing in the mid-90s. This is one of those guys.
Right, and kind of an old school type of pitcher where he especially right-handed. We see it from some lefties, but especially in the National League West. So many power arms over here. Well, 3-2 count now. Hey, Johnny's going to take off here.
Yeah, you got a guy that puts the ball in play, and Helt also doesn't run well, so it figures. Johnny takes off, and this ball is laced to right field. He'll cut the bag at second. Batista's going to try to throw through. Head first slide, he's in there. That was a great throw by Jose Batista. And Todd Helt has found the barrel of the bat a lot more frequently the last 3-4 days.
And this ball was hit hard. Cutter that cuts back to the middle part of the plate. Todd turns in it. Jonathan takes off, sees where the flight of the ball is, and does not even slow down one bit. Because if he does, he's going to be out at third base with the throw by Batista, and has to go out kind of wide towards that outside part of the bag and slide in head first.
And good coaching by Richie Dower. I mean, that was no accident that he slid to the back corner of the bag.
Yeah, Richie's down there pointing and showing him exactly where he needed to go because he saw where the throw was coming from.
Here's Carlos Gonzalez, and he pulls it in the hole for a base hit. 1-0 Colorado. Let's not waste any time, huh?
That's nice when you want to jump out early against a guy that hasn't been at the big leagues for a year or so and really hasn't pitched healthy in 2 years. Carlos doesn't wait. They've been trying to go away from Carlos a lot, and that time we saw him broke his bat last night a couple different times. At that time, is able to stay on a little bit longer to get the RBI.
3 straight singles greet Jesse Litsch's return to the big leagues, and now here's Brad Hopp. RBI number 39 for Cargo. Boy, don't you hate that as a hitter when you check swing, the pitch is going to be out of the zone, it's going to be 1-0 instead, it's 0-1.
That's why Brad has a little bit of that wry smile, because he's sitting there going, man, I wanted to hold up, I tried to, and somehow it just caught a little bit of the bat.
One ball, 1 strike. Who wants tacos? Fans, remember, if the Rockies score 7 or more during any game, go to participating Colorado Taco Bell locations the next day between 4 and 6 and get your Rockies taco special. Feed your fever, only at Taco Bell.
I like some tacos tomorrow. It's been a while.
It has been a while. Jim Tracy would like to see that. This ball is lifted to center field. Vernon Wells has it, and there's 1 out. And here comes one of those hot hands, Ryan Spilborghs. Spilly stepping up, 9 for his last 16 at the plate.
He hit 283 off right-handed pitching this year. A couple of home runs. 17 for 60.
Goes off speed, drops the breaking ball in for a strike.
That's his first curveball today. We've seen the changeup, we've seen the fastball and the cutter. First true off-speed pitch. Ryan hit 400 with runners in scoring position, 8-4-20.
And this ball is driven to right field and pretty deep. Batista going back, and he make the catch, and Helton had gone halfway. So he'll return, and there are 2 outs, and that'll bring up Ian Stewart. Good swing by Spilborghs.
It was a real good swing, just barely missed it. You could see what his attempt was, or intentions, to try to hit that ball to that right center field gap again. As we saw the home run the other night. Just a tad underneath it, though.
Ian Stewart, just 1 hit on this homestand. He's 1 for 9 with a couple of walks. Melvin Moore has had a couple of starts on the homestand. In there for a strike. Take a look at the Amica hit zone on Stewart. Amica, it's not how you're covered, it's how you're treated.
I'm a little surprised at that 0 down at the down and in for Ian, because that's where he can generate a lot of that power. Good eye from Ian, because just looking at it from our angle, it looked like that might have been on the plate.
That was, and it's 1-2. It seems a lot of times with Ian, and maybe this is true of young hitters, is that you'll see him either in ultra aggressive mode coming up, or more of a real passive type of mode where a lot of times it's 0-2, 1-2 very quickly without him swinging the bat.
And that's where he's at right now. He's at that kind of passive mode and falling behind, especially on this homestand and at times here at Coors Field. 7 home runs, but 0 here at Coors Field. 19 out of his 30 RBIs have been out on the road.
I think sometimes, tell me if you would agree with this, that and they're both extremely talented, but they have similar approaches sometimes. Stewart and Iannetta.
Perfect, yes, exactly right, where they think, well, they get 4 strikes.
And that pitch just missed, 3-2. And I think some of that, Huey, is the byproduct of guys that have had a lot of success offensively, hit home runs, but also have been known throughout their careers professionally. I'm talking about in the minor leagues, of having good eyes.
Yeah, and sometimes that works against you, though, because you constantly wait for that perfect pitch. You're not going to always get that perfect pitch at the big league level. You might get 1 pitch to hit per at bat, or 1 every 2 at bats. And you got to be ready to fire at it. And every pitch isn't going to be right on that tee, right on the inside third part of the plate where you want it. The one thing that 4 strike zone is showing you, though, is they're working him away.
3-2. Runners will be off again. 2 outs. Rockies up 1-0 here in the bottom of the first.
He shook to a fastball away.
And he missed with it. So now they're loaded up for Chris Iannetta. Time the Rockies have ever seen Jesse Litsch, with the exception of Olivo, Giambi, and Mora, who faced him in the American League. None of those guys are in the lineup this afternoon. Here we go, bases loaded, and Iannetta, being aggressive, fired at the first pitch. Didn't get it, it's 0-1.
But a good swing, though. You got that fastball, 88 miles an hour, cut on him a little bit, but it was a good swing and a good aggressive swing.
Chris feeling better at the plate. 3 for his last 10. And that's there, 0-2. At third base is Todd Helton. Carlos Gonzalez, who also singled, is at second. And Ian Stewart just walked. He's over at first base.
Skycam looked like that pitch might have been off the plate a little bit, but John Bucks held it long enough for Todd Teschner to call it a strike.
And this ball off the end of the back, shallow center field. Wells can't get it. 2 runs are going to score. And going first to third is Stewart. 3-0 Colorado. The importance, as we always say, of getting the ball in play. That's what Iannetta did, and he's rewarded with 2 ribbies.
Well, you've seen the guys now. They fall behind in the count 0-2 and still be able to put good swings on it. And Chris didn't. It wasn't a great swing, but he did put the ball in play, like you said, Drew, right off the end of the bat. And right now he's running down there saying, drop, drop, drop. Yes, it did. Kind of reminds me the other night against Houston, when the Rockies jumped out there and scored 3 in that first inning in the last start that Jeff Francis made.
Well, the Rockies have gotten some leads early. We've talked a lot about that. First 5 innings, they've done a great job offensively. It's the latter part of games where they've struggled. 26-12 are the Rockies this year when they score first, and they're 14-4 at Coors Field when they're on the board first. Here's Barmes looking to eclipse the 30 RBI mark. Home plate umpire is Todd Tishner. Jeff identified him a moment ago. Andy Fletcher's at first, Adrian Johnson at second, and the crew chief Tim McClellan's at third. And that's going to find a gap. It's going to be 4-0. Iannetta's going to go first to third. Barmes into second with a double. His 30th RBI, and the Rockies will hit around in the opening frame.
Clint Barmes now is tied for third on the team with 30 RBIs. And with this longer bat that Clint's using now and a little bit heavier bat, we've seen that ball away from him give him fits before, but now he's able to get that bat on and stay in the zone a little bit longer, even though it was a breaking pitch, cutter away from him.
Jeff Francis can swing the bat a little bit. He takes ball 1. Runners at second and third. And Jesse Litsch put his head on the pillow last night, anxiously awaiting his return to the big leagues. This is not what he had in mind.
But the good thing about it for the Rockies is they've scored 3 of these runs with 2 outs to kind of give it a little extra jab in the gut to Jesse Litsch, where you're sitting there going, hey, this is the big leagues. You make a mistake, we're going to make you pay.
2-1. Litsch has already thrown 33 pitches. Strike ball ratio is fine. It's very good, 23-10. And honestly, there haven't been that many hard hit balls. The hardest hit ball was Helton's single. Two and two. Kind of a little bit of a delay on the strike call. He was in there, though.
Of course, the home fans are going to say, hey,
sure.
That was a ball.
And it's 3-2 on Francis.
And already you get to kind of see a little bit of the body language of the guys out in the infield and the outfield. They're sitting there with their shoulders kind of scrunched over a little bit, hands on their hips.
And this is lined to deep left field, but it's flagged down by Adam Lind. Jeff Francis gave it a ride. Rockies produced 4 runs in the first.
My eyes.
I haven't seen blue sky in ages. 4-0 Colorado. The sun is shining on the Rockies as we take a look at our Toyota Diamond Details, brought to you by your neighborhood Toyota stores. Well, with all the rain, the grounds crew has been taxed of late, but the drainage system in Coors Field's great. 10,000 feet of pipe underneath, 3,000 tons of pea gravel. I'm not real familiar with that. 5,000 tons of sand. That helps with the drainage, Jeff. And they can drain 5 inches of water per hour. It's kind of like our yard.
Pea gravel's really small rock.
Thus the name Pea.
There you go.
Pretty quick. This, by the way, also sets a mark we have to tell you about as Lyle Overbay steps in. It's still cool at the ballpark. Last night's ball game started at 51 degrees. We didn't get a game time temperature today, but it's not summer-like. That's in there for a strike. Shift is on for the Rockies. We have the heater, folks, underneath, so we keep the feet warm. You put it out today, so don't try to pass it off on me. This is easily the latest date in Rockies booth history that we've had the heater on.
Well, I got it out because when I got out of my car this morning at 9:30 coming to the ballpark and I could see my breath, I said, we need it.
Yeah. You're supposed to see your breath in the middle of June in Denver. 3-1 on Overbet. Rockies 4 runs on 5 hits in the first inning.
And now the key for Jeff to go out there and shut this inning down and get right back into that dugout, get that offense still cranking.
Strike 3 on the outside corner.
Fastball that he cut away. Even though it's a two-seam, put a little more pressure on that middle finger and work it away. Chris Iannetta holding it for Todd to call it. Get a good look at it. Strong wrist by Chris Iannetta just to freeze it right there.
John Buck will step up. 259 average, 9 home runs, 30 driven in for the former Kansas City catcher. Toronto has struck out more than any team in the American League, 486 times. The Angels second on that list, and the White Sox. And that's not atypical of a team that hits a lot of home runs.
A lot of swing and misses, a lot of empty swings, but also they'll catch that ball and hit a lot of home runs. And it's kind of cyclical too, as far as being a home run hitting type. It seems like they come in bunches, or the strikeouts come in bunches.
One and two. Francis working ahead of Buck. This ball's lined to deep left field. It's going to take a hop and kiss off the wall. Spilborghs fires it back in. A 1-out double for Buck. 2 hits for the Jays, both doubles. Aaron Hill had one in the first inning. And they now have 252 extra base hits. That's the most in baseball. Time for the Breaks Plus Take a Break poll of the game. Text your answers to 95323. This is, I suppose, an apropos question with all of the rain lately. What's a more difficult job in your opinion? Coors Field grounds crew or Pepsi Center conversion crew when they're turning it from basketball surface, lifting that up and getting ready for an Avalanche game, or the other way around? Text Rocks 1 for grounds crew. That tarp is heavy, yes. Text Rocks 2 for conversion crew. They're good at puzzles because the floor has to be pieced together when they put a basketball floor back down. You can't have the free throw line at center court.
No, but all I know is there's going to be about 8 to 10 guys that sleep pretty well tonight after this ball game.
Yeah.
That's part of the grounds crew here.
1-1 on Edwin Encarnacion. Just missed. 2-1. Show the Brakes Plus text, the poll text, at Brakes Plus this month, and receive an oil change and filter, rotate and balance of tires and front wiper blades for only $50. Hard shot. Barnes knocks it down, gloves it, throws him out. Boy, that's well done, because you know when it's coming at you, Huey, you're not going to get through leather on it, are you?
No, but you know with Encarnacion's not a real good runner or speed guy where you have to worry about catching it cleanly. The other thing is, too, that Clint was already over into the hole a little bit. So right now he acts like a catcher trying to block a ball at home plate to keep it in front of him. Once he does, he doesn't grab it with his glove. He goes with his bare hand. That's key. So many times you see guys try to grab it with their glove and it doesn't work.
Well, will touch the bag. Jesse Litsch retired, and Toronto retired as well. Middle of 2. The Rockies ahead 4-0 on the Jays. Rockies love the top of the order as they hit around in the first. Let's check in with Mark Stott for today's great Colorado Payback Sideline Report. Hey, Mark.
Hey, Drew, interesting story about Jesse Litsch. This guy's had baseball through and through his system. When he was 8 years old, he grew up outside of Tampa. He was a Little League stud. In fact, in the Pony League there in Pinellas Park, he went 46 for 46 at the plate. Was a great pitcher.
Whoa. Time out.
46 for 46.
Time out.
That's what they said.
I'm saying that one went off, between the second baseman's legs and that gave him a hit.
That's hard to believe. 40 at any level. I know what you're saying, Drew. So then he becomes a bat boy for the Devil Rays, as this one's popped up to left. After that, he becomes an intern with the Community Relations Department in Tampa Bay. Then he becomes a clubhouse attendant with the Rays. So it's 2002, 8 years ago. He says to Carl Crawford, I'm going to be pitching in the big leagues against you. Crawford, the All-Star last year with the Devil Rays, who's still playing now. Crawford's like, okay, sure. Well, he gets picked by the Jays in the 24th round in 04, signs, and then 2 years ago, his fourth win in the big leagues at Tropicana Field, he beats the Blue Jays. Now, here's the kicker in all this. The Rockies picked him first in 03 in the 37th round, and he didn't sign. But he was a Little League stud, and here he is in the big leagues, exactly like he told everybody when he was a clubhouse attendant for the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. Good story, guys.
It's a good story. The natural progression is about 10 years from now, he will own a Major League franchise, I guess.
Well, that's what makes baseball so much fun, is the stories that you hear.
High and deep right field, stay fair. Foul ball. Crowd tried to influence that down the right field line. Andy Fletcher was all over it.
Well, Todd never let go of his bat either. So that's your first indication as a hitter, whether it's going to be fair or foul.
Foul by a couple feet. You know what? Regardless, it's good to see Todd hitting the ball at the top of the wall, almost hitting one out there. And that's not going to be a huge part of his game anymore, but just seeing him drive the baseball with authority.
Yeah, barrel some up. You know, not off the end of the bat, not the handle jobs. You'll take those, but to get the barrel on the ball. To see him being able to turn more free and easy. And I think he made a comment to Mark Stout last night in the post-game interview that we had with him. He goes, you know what, I'm really starting to see the ball. And when you start to see the ball, you start to feel more comfortable, and you quit worrying about all the other things where your hands and feet are. You just see it and react.
The foul balls. They're not chipped foul. I mean, they're line shots foul.
I just noticed his balance at the plate right now is a lot better. Where he's not diving out onto that front leg or anything like that. Now you're seeing the solid swings. And even that one, yeah, he came back onto his back leg a little bit. But still, it was a good finish.
It was after, too.
Yes. Leg goes up, hands, everything right there. Now, it's a little bit of twist and torque on it, but you're right, Drew. It's after everything happened on that swing.
And a good pitch by Litsch, and he wins that battle. 2 outs. That'll bring up Carlos Gonzalez. First strikeout for Litsch. Today's big hit of the week is brought to you by Mako. This guy's had a lot of big hits. Carlos Gonzalez with his 9th home run Friday night against the Blue Jays. Our Mako big hit of the week. Fargo had an RBI single on the first pitch he saw from Litsch.
We're hitting over 325 here at Coors Field. That ball he hit last night, or a couple nights ago on that home run, that was just straight on the line.
Doug just handed me a note that's fascinating. Litsch, until that last pitch, the last 2 pitches, had thrown 47 pitches in the game. Helton had seen 16 of them.
I'm already kind of looking at the relievers for Toronto and wondering, okay, Litch's next pitch is going to be his 50th. How many are they going to go? And they talked before the game somewhere in the neighborhood of 100 to 110. So you look at it, if somebody gets knocked out, you're looking at Brian Tallett, the lefty, who Litch replaced in the rotation as the long guy for Toronto.
And it's a little different than an American League deal, because if they're way behind and he's not real effective, he's not going to get anywhere close to that 100 pitch mark. His number is going to come up in the lineup. This series between the Rockies and Blue Jays has been interesting in that the Rockies have twice been to Rogers Center. They've never won a game. They're 0-6. And Toronto's played 5 games now at Coors Field. They're 0-5.
Home sweet home, I guess.
Yeah. Now, Litch obviously much better in the second inning than the first. 2 strikeouts and a 1-2-3 second. We'll go to the third. Rockies lead at 40. brought to you by AT&T. Find out what's possible with the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, rethink possible. By Brakes Plus, a whole lot more. By Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo customers, visit wellsfargo.com/Rockies for 2-for-1 club level seats. And by Hyundai, get more style, more MPG, and more value at your Colorado Hyundai dealers today. And back live, Jose Bautista is going to reach, leading off the third inning.
That ball was hit hard right to Ian Stewart, but it had a little hook on it. That ball, he just crushed it when it was up. Ian tried to get it and then went off his glove. Clint Barmas lunged for it, then went by him, but that was a base hit for Bautista.
And that snapped an 0 for 24 slide for Bautista. Aaron Hill, who doubled to right center, will step up. Steven Strasburg was on the mound today against the Cleveland Indians in Cleveland. He left after 5 2/3. He had given up only 2 hits and a run. He gave up a solo home run to Travis Hafner. He did walk 5, struck at 8.
Sellout for Cleveland. Cleveland's been playing better ball. But to get that kind of crowd for a Washington-Cleveland series, pretty impressive by Steven Strasburg.
And I know we've had poor weather this week, and obviously Ubaldo on Friday pitched and had to pitch in the bad conditions. 9-1 now in the 8th inning, Washington over Cleveland. And Steven Strasburg, you and I have seen him on television. We saw him pitch when he was in college. We've seen the highlights like everybody else of some of his minor league starts. Wonderful arm, unbelievable talent. Guess what? That guy's here pitching in Colorado. So come on out and support all the Rockies, but Jimenez should be pitching to full houses wherever he goes, and especially here at 20th and Blake.
Best pitcher in baseball.
Right.
And I mean, American League, National League, it doesn't matter. Ubaldo is the best pitcher. You know, you can throw Roy Halladay, CC, Price down in Tampa, whoever else you want to throw into that mix. Guy's got 12 wins, 12-1. It could be 13-0.
I was explaining to the Toronto broadcast. We said, "What happened in his one loss?" He said, "I gave up a hit and a half." 1-2's high, 2-2. Aaron Hill out of LSU. He arrived there right after Brad Hawk was departing. And is it hit hard enough for 2? So Hill will trade places with Bautista, 1 out, and that'll bring up Adam Lind, and it'll take us to our Geico quote of the day. We try to get in about 8 or 10 of these a year. A Tommy Lasorda quote: "Baseball is like driving. It's the one who gets home safely that counts." I would agree with that, Tommy. Lind hit a fly ball to right his first time. Strike.
It's a real interesting alignment now with 1 out and Lind up. You think about double plays, all that other stuff, but the way Jonathan Herrera is way over in the hole, going to make it tough to try to turn anything.
Yeah, he goes the other way. Base hit. It gets past Spilborghs, and now everybody's going to move up. That's going to be an error on Ryan Spilborghs, and Hill had stopped at second. It was going to be first and second, 1 out, which kept the double play in order. And instead, it's second and third with Vernon Wells coming up, and the Rockies may very well pass on him again.
Tried to go down and in and cut out and away, almost in the identical spot the first pitch was. Lind stayed on it and hit it that way, and it is unfortunate because Ryan gets his first error of the season, just didn't look it all the way into his glove, kind of peeked and pulled his head. Your glove and arm go with your head. When your head comes up, your glove's going to come up. But it takes away that double play option with Vernon Wells.
The 4-0 lead, the Rockies will pitch to him. Vernon walked on 4 pitches his first time up. He pitched around him. Wells from the Dallas-Fort Worth area and still makes his offseason home there. 1-1. Second on the all-time home run list for the Blue Jays with 207. Carlos Delgado is number 1 at 336. Wells earlier this year passed Joe Carter, who will never ever pay for a meal in Toronto.
Well, after that home run off of Mitch Williams, we'll see him jumping around as he's going around first base.
Ground ball to short. And we'll get a run home. Helton stayed on the bag. Adam Lynn stays at second base. 4-1, 2 outs. And that'll bring up Alex Gonzalez. As it stands right now, that's an unearned run, depending on the outcome of this at bat with Alex Gonzalez.
And you also think about that ground ball to Clint Barmas off the bat of Aaron Hill, where they're able to get that lead runner but not turn 2.
Gonzalez hit a fly ball to left his first time. Breaking ball for a strike. Repair that chip in your windshield now. Call Safelite Elite Auto Glass at 303-287-5000 or go to safelite.com. Get foul. Oh, that was closer than everybody thought. Especially Alex Gonzalez, who stood at the plate for a while, and then he said, wait a second, that thing's not hooking like I thought it would.
Yeah, first off the bat, I was thinking, uh-oh, that's going to hit a couple feet fair, drive in another run. Stayed through it, and Alex didn't think so at first, and then he's like, oh, I better get running. Alex Gonzalez leads all Major League shortstops in home runs with 13. Second on the list is Hanley Ramirez and Juan Uribe with 9.
Troy Tulowitzki right after that. He's got 8 home runs. Again, not playing today, just resting a sore groin muscle. One and 2 on Gonzalez.
Yeah, if you're going to go inside to Gonzalez, make sure it's off the plate. For maybe another curveball down or a changeup going away.
And this is lined to right center field, and it's going to drop. Lind is going to score. Going to second with the doubles, Gonzalez, and it's 4-2. So the Rockies have kind of let Toronto back in this ball game. 36th RBI for Gonzalez.
There was a changeup, but it caught too much of the plate and up too much. When it's up and away from a hitter, a changeup, and it doesn't have any depth to it going down, your bat stays on that plane a long time, and that's why Gonzalez hit that ball to right center field, because he didn't have to reach for it or change his bat position at all.
One 1-0 on Lyle Overbay. Caught looking on a 3-2 fastball his first time up.
Hey, Rockies fans, get your tickets to watch the Rockies and the Milwaukee Brewers June 18th through the 20th.
Ground ball in a strange area off of Herrera. That's going to bring another run home. I said in a strange area because they had a shift on for Overbay. And really, a ball hit not very hard at all produces another run. And it's 4-2-3.
The last 2 runs now with 2 outs.
And the Rockies defense a little shoddy here, which is a surprise because it's been outstanding after a rough April. Last 5-6 weeks they've been very good.
Well, you have the big shift on with Clint Barmas up the middle and Jonathan Herrera really pulled over. When this ball was hit, I was thinking Clint might have an opportunity to try to catch that ball by cutting in front of Jonathan.
He doesn't get any leather. He just kicked it.
Yeah, just barely caught the end of his glove. And then kicked it out into the outfield. You got to make sure when you're going for those backhands like that, you go and you reach and you really bend your knees. And this first error of the season for Jonathan Herrera, 2 in this inning for the Rockies.
On the ground to third, and Stewart will go to Herrera. But the Rockies, nice 4-0 lead. That's history. It's now a 4-3 ball game. One of the 3 runs was unearned. And so the Rockies will have to re-gauge things offensively and get after Jesse Litsch. No team wants to give a club extra outs. That's stating the obvious. But when you're not swinging the bat great, and in this recent trend in baseball, especially playing in the NL West, where you're always going to face good pitchers, and you're going to have a lot of 2-1, 3-2, 4-3 type of ball games, you really can't give back, give away runs like the Rockies did last inning. It's been uncharacteristic of them. Alex Gonzalez will make the catch. Today's Kid Question is brought to you by promoting responsible fatherhood. Be there for your kids. It matters. Let's check in again with Mark Stack. Mark.
Thank you, Drew. I'm here with Jim DeLay, his daughter Lauren. They are from Castle Rock, and Lauren has the question of the week.
I do. My dad took me to the 1993 inaugural home opener game at Mile High Stadium, and as a huge Chris Iannetta and Catcher Fan. I'm wondering if you can name the catchers that were on the Rockies roster for the 1993 inaugural season.
Wow, that is a good question, guys. Let's hear the answer.
Well, Joe Girardi.
Was it Jayhawk Owens?
That's a good call. Girardi and Jayhawk Owens. 0-1 to Spilborghs is in there, 0-2. One and two. See, we're doing this without cheating. You want to cheat and see if we're right?
Yeah.
Slider in the dirt. Well, to have your question answered on the air, visit ColoradoDads.com. That's ColoradoDads.com. Well, Girardi started behind the plate. Danny Schaefer.
Oh.
Jayhawk Owens was on the team also. They had 3 catches. And this ball is gone. Ryan Spilborghs getting one of the runs back. Jim Tracy said, I'm going to play the hot hand. It's Spilborghs against the righty, not Seth Smith, and it pays off here in the third.
Well, the thing you want to do as a hitter, too, when you make a mistake, the inning before, half inning before, you want to atone for that mistake. Well, Ryan Spilborghs certainly did that with that home run. 5th home run on the season, 11th RBI for Ryan. He has so much power to that right center field alley. It's a lot like a left-handed pull guy.
And that's where you know a hitter's in a good groove.
Yeah.
We've seen him wearing out that side of the field. So Spilborghs makes it 5-3. Top foul, 1-1 count on Ian Stewart. Stewart walked his first time up and would come around to score. Rockies got 4 in the first. The Rockies were carrying a bunch of catchers in. Danny Schaefer.
So we were right.
Yeah, Eric Wedge, who's
he's
one-time manager. He's replaced by Manny Acta.
Yeah, but he interviewed, or he's going to interview for the Baltimore job.
He'll get another job. He did very good work in Cleveland. Didn't Jayhawk Owens working as a manager in the minor leagues?
Last I heard he was.
Joe Girardi's a manager. We know that. I forget the team. Here's the 1-2. 2-2.
Some team back east.
Yeah. I don't know what Danny Schaefer's doing right now. That was a very good question. Thank you for that. 3-2. Iannetta's on deck.
That's kind of the same spot that Ian Stewart was in his first at bat. And fell behind, worked his way back to a 3-2 count. They went fastball away last time to Ian.
And a broken bat pop-up. This is a no man's land. It's going to drop. And Stewart has himself a base hit. I'm a little surprised that Aaron Hill didn't have a play on that, aren't you?
I am too. You keep running out there as an infielder too, so you start to hear the outfielder. The ball was hit up in the air a long ways. Well, Aaron Hill looks and then he just kind of stops. Maybe he lost it back up into the sky with the clouds and the blue sky that's up there. I don't know. He just kind of threw his hands up, though.
If the Rockies can take advantage. Chris Iannetta, he had a bloop single that drove in 2 runs in the first. Strike 1. Here's our AAA. How far did it travel? I'll show you the home run from Ryan Spilborghs. Oh, we're not going to show you. We're just going to tell you. It traveled 418 feet. How far did it travel? Brought to you by AAA Travel. Woo. 2-strike count on Iannetta.
curious on that throw over because Litsch has been pretty quick to the plate, a little less than 1.2 seconds. You don't really need to worry about a guy like Ian Stewart over there.
You know what? Maybe that's a byproduct of he nodded and accepted the pitch that John Buck wanted thrown, and then when he got to the set position, he said, wait a second, you know what, I don't like that. I'm going to throw over to first. I mean, he could have stepped off the back.
Sometimes the pitchers just have it in their mind that they're going to go over, even though there's not a sign from the bench.
You see there, right there, he stepped off the back and he waved his glove. He said, give me a fresh set of signs.
Yeah, because what happens, a lot of guys will have that fastball grip, and then they want to go to some off-speed pitch, and they don't have that right grip into their hand. So that's why they'll step off. And you'll see a few guys preset maybe a split finger or a changeup and then switch to the fastball. More than likely it's the other way around. He's gone through every sign right now. He's got fastball, changeup, curveball, slider. Finally, he's like, wait a second. I don't have 6 fingers here that I can throw down. You don't have a knuckleball you're not telling me about, do you?
Maybe you wanted to borrow Jimenez's fastball for a pitch.
A lot of guys would like to do that.
There's one more note on Rockies catchers through the years. All-time starts for the Rockies behind the plate: Yorvi Torrealba 291, Joe Girardi next at 284. Then Chris Iannetta at 271, Jeff Reed 257. Rockies up 5-3 as they hit here in the bottom of the third. Two and two. Chris back in the count.
This just doesn't have that pitch that makes you afraid, though. Because we've seen him get ahead of a lot of guys. 0-2, 1-2. Yeah, he might strike a few guys out. But all of a sudden you see him back into the counts. 2-2, 3-2s.
And as you said, it's 3-2. Yeah, there's not that swing and miss pitch.
And we have to realize that this is his first game back, but this is pretty much what he was before he got hurt, too. He wants a cut fastball to go away.
Runner going, back up the middle, a base hit. And Stewart will go first to third. Now Chris Iannetta's 2 for 2. And both at bats, Jeff, he was behind early in the count, got himself back in, and that was sharply hit, obviously. The first ball he hit was more off the end of the bat, but it was productive. It dropped in, and a couple of runs scored.
And what was nice about that, too, even with Ian Stewart running, it was hit hard enough so you didn't get the double play. Hyundai Kim, with that ball down, Chris stays on it and drives it and takes that top hand off. And we've seen that top hand come off sometimes, but not when you stay through the ball like you did there. Well, it's just a reminder from Bruce Walton to say, listen, Clint Barma's doubled against you last time up. Had an RBI. Pitchers hitting behind. As we see Brian Talent up and tossing right now. I talked about him earlier being the long guy.
Barmas a double to left center to drive in a run his first time, and that's on the outside corner.
Chris Iannetta's first multi-hit game since April 14th. It's not over yet.
1-1. There's only 5 days left for the first prize drawing of the Rocky Mountain Boys and Girls Club raffle. The entry deadline is Thursday, June 17th. Go to RockyMountainRaffle.com and sign up for your chance to win $5,000. Stewart at third, Iannetta at first.
So one way or another, Drew, I think this might be Jesse's last inning. He's due up second next inning. If he tack on a couple more runs, for sure he would be out of there, but he's also nearing the 80 pitch mark.
squeezes on, and it is not caught by Buck. It's funny. I was thinking, looking at third base, back a little bit, get that 6th-run home in front of the pitcher's spot, 1-1 count. Jim Tracy likes to do this.
Yeah, and the thing with the squeeze is you forget sometimes as a hitter is it doesn't have to be perfect. All it has to do is be out in front of home plate. But the barrel of Clint's bat, he lost it. It dropped underneath a little bit, and that's what caused it to pop up. Instead of just go ahead and dropping it down even 5, 7, 10 feet in front of home plate.
Get it in play. 2-2. I really like that call there. Barmes is as good a bunter typically as the Rockies have.
I'm trying to think when the last time. Was that maybe the 2nd time the Rockies have tried to squeeze all year? Pretty high numbers for Jesse today. 35. That's, of course, when the Rockies scored 4 in the 1st inning.
And it's 3-2 on Barmes. You have Jeff Francis on deck.
Well, 2 things here. First, you got to worry about the 3rd to 1st move. If you're Chris Iannetta over there. And then do you start him with the pitcher on deck? Try to stay out of the double play?
I would, because Barmes runs pretty well.
Yeah, the last thing you'd want is to strike him out, throw him out, to have the pitcher lead off next inning.
And Clint does strike out some. Not going, and this ball is hit to left center field. It'll drop, and here comes Stewart. Stop sign at third base for Iannetta. Another double for Barmes. It's 6-3. And now Cito Gaston saying, man, this is where that National League really comes into play, because if I go get him, which I've got to do, I'm going to have my long haul guy hitting in the 4th inning unless I want to use another pitcher.
That's what makes the National League so beautiful. All those thoughts that have to go through there. Hanging breaking pitch from Jesse, and Clint does what you're supposed to do at this level with the hanging breaking pitch. He's hit it into the gap for a double. 31st RBI now on the season for Clint Barmes. Double number 13.
Well, the Rockies, after giving up 3 in the top of the 3rd, have countered here with a couple in the bottom of the 3rd. Surgery. It'll be Brian Tallett making his 7th appearance. The infield's in. 2nd and 3rd, Jeff Francis at the plate, who lined to deep left to end that 1st inning. Outside, ball 1 on Jeff.
You talk about the squeeze. Now's not a bad time to squeeze. You got 1-0. Left on left, I understand that, but you also have the blind spot for that runner at third base. where you could go ahead and squeeze him and you get a late call from the infielders.
Iannetta's at third. And this is punched to left. Is it deep enough? Yep, moving away from the baseball was Adam Lind, who does a lot of DHing. And Richie Dower and Chris Iannetta all over it. If he had set up to throw, you may have seen Iannetta take 2 steps down and break.
Exactly right. As soon as he went back, that little motion to go back to catch the ball and get all his weight going backwards instead of forwards, Richie Dower said go. The swing from Jeff produces almost the identical swing that he had his first time up. And then right there where he's going back and can't regather himself to make the throw, you go and you take off because they can't throw out anybody from that distance or that motion.
Johnny Herrera from the right side. Hey, it's been since May 29th, but we got tacos. Don't forget to go to Taco Bell tomorrow between 4 and 6 to get your Rockies tacos special from Taco Bell. Team star for offense has 7 runs. And they're still hitting here in the third. 2-0 count on Herrera with Clint Barmas at second. Barmas has doubled in 2 runs today. He's got 31 RBIs out of the 8-hole.
And more importantly, you put the 3-run deficit back into play again, or the 4-run, excuse me, by Toronto scoring 3, and then you answer.
Yeah, and this ball was driven well, but foul.
So that's all I had to do was ask for tacos, right? I mean, because I said it earlier.
You're fully responsible.
Okay.
Just upset
Sorry.
you haven't asked more.
Sorry, Taco Bell. I think you'll gladly take it, though.
Yes.
Okay, here it is. The last taco day was May 29th. You just said that. I want to remind people.
This is fouled off. Yeah, but it's been a while, though. I mean, that's a couple of weeks. More than a couple of weeks. The guy who knows that more than anybody's Jim Tracy. What he said after the game last night. He said, hey, we had a couple opportunities to score. Fortunately got one. Got to play great defense in those situations, and they did. I mean, Barmas had a couple of brilliant plays. Great pitching from Hamill. Corpus in the 9th. Outside. 3-2.
Latala was removed from the rotation to make room for Jesse Litsch. Wasn't real happy about it. He wanted to stay in the rotation, but he understood that this is the way they're going to go for a while.
Look at man, Richie Dower. You can't even react on that.
No.
Fortunately, it missed Richie.
Well, and especially where he's at, too. He's about 75 feet away from home plate because he wants to get a better look at the shortstop and the second base, the base runner out at second base. And he's got to look at him and then at the last second turn his head towards home.
Talent strikes out Herrera. Barmas left at second, but the Rockies get 3 runs on 4 hits. And the first hit of the inning was a home run from Ryan Snowboards, his 5th of the year. One in the batting order for the Blue Jays. Our AT&T trivia question: Jose Bautista leads the league with 18 home runs. Who are the only 2 Blue Jays to lead the American League in home runs? Edwin Encarnacion grounded to short his first time. He takes hot ball 1 from Jeff Francis. One and one. Two balls and a strike on Encarnacion. You know, Francis wants to put this inning down quickly. This is in the air, left center field. It's going to hang in the air, give Spilborghs a chance to get over there. 1 out. Well, today's Fast Cash Sideline Report is brought to you by Fast Cash Gold Centers, where you'll always get 40% more for your gold. Here's Mark Stout.
Hey guys, Canadian-born Jeff Francis told me the other day that he rooted for 2 players growing up. One is obvious, Larry Walker, British Columbia native, and the other maybe is obvious if you think about it. It's left-hander Jimmy Key, who pitched for the Jays from '84 to '92. So Jeff would have been a youngster then, 8, 9, just getting into baseball. Key, 116 wins over that time frame. Still is the career ERA leader for the Jays at 3.42. And then you'll like this, another name came up. And this is one of the 14 Canadian-born players that have played for the Jays, Paul Quantrill, who is going to be going into the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame next weekend in St. Mary's, Ontario. We talked a little bit about him, and you'll like this, Huey. Also going in with him next weekend, Robbie Alomar, one of your favorite players, one of your teammates, obviously, from back in the day. So a little Canada stuff for you guys.
I got some more Canadian stuff. Jeff and his wife, Allison, just welcomed in baby girl last fall, and Allison's from London, Ontario, and that's where they got married. It's about 100 miles from Toronto, so Jeff's very familiar with that part of
and you can understand, and you can understand why Jimmy Key was one of his favorites, because they're very similar as far as style of pitching.
Yeah, not an overpowering lefty.
No, but you cut the ball, you sink it, you throw the curveball and the sliders, and that's exactly what Jimmy Key did.
2-0 is in there to Bautista, 2-1.
I've been talking about why. I said, Jeff, why Toronto and not Montreal? He goes, Toronto was on TV more, and that's why he became a Jays fan.
Closer too. It's only like 2,400 miles from his hometown, as opposed to 2,700 miles.
Well, I was just trying to think in kilometers, because we're up in Canada.
Yeah.
So you do the quick math.
3-2. So Doug now is he's gonna look up the distances. Vancouver, BC to Toronto, Vancouver, BC to Montreal. A lot of folks up in Vancouver, seriously, are Seattle Mariner fans.
Oh, yeah, it's not far. You can go catch a Major League Baseball game down there. There used to be a AAA club, too, in Vancouver, and Vancouver Canadians in the old PCL.
Bautista walks with 2 outs, and that'll bring up Aaron Hill. (2,295 miles to Montreal, 2,092 miles to Toronto.
I wanted them in kilometers, though.
Well, it's about 3,500 kilometers to Montreal. Center field, and Carlos Gonzalez is standing right there. 4th inning complete. Jeff Francis and the Rockies leading the Toronto Blue Jays. Business results. June 13th, 1998. The first triple play ever completed at Dodger Stadium. His turn against the Rockies. And if you're trying to remember back, Darren Dreifert was pitcher. Eric Young at second base. Jose Vizcaíno at short. Bobby Bonilla was at third. First and second. And it was a 1-6-4 triple play. And the reason it was is they turned the double play, and then Jamie Wright, who was on second base, decided late to try to go from second to third, and Eric Young, who was covering first, fired to third to Bobby Bonilla to get the third out. Todd Helton hits this in the air to center field, and Vernon Wells makes the catch. One out. That'll bring up Carlos Gonzalez. Today's health report is brought to you by the Exempla St. Joseph Cardiac and Vascular Institute. The most hearts, the most experience. Taylor Buchholz, Jorge De La Rosa will travel with the Rockies to Minneapolis for the 3-game set against Minnesota. And they will both throw batting practice. So first time they'll get to face hitters. In the case of De La Rosa in about a month, Buchholz a couple of weeks.
That's just encouraging news, because Taylor was coming along so fine in his rehab, and then the back flared up and had to shut it down for a little bit, kind of starting the whole process over. But De La Rosa, so far no pain, feeling good. All goes well. Look for him, I would imagine, right after the All-Star break.
Two-strike count on Gonzalez. RBI single in the first and a strikeout in the second. Strike three. So Jesse Tallett has 2 outs, and Brad Hopp will come up. Jesse Litsch goes 2 1/3. He gives up 7 runs, all of them earned. 9 hits. He walked 1 and struck out 2. Hopp's 0 for 2. And gets under this one. He hits it pretty well to left center field. Catch is made by Adam Lynn. Tallett works at 1, 2, 3, 4th. We'll go to the 5th. 7-3 Colorado. FSN is brought to you by StubHub. This season, it's easier than ever to buy and sell Rockies tickets on StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the Colorado Rockies. By Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo customers visit wellsfargo.com/Rockies for 2-for-1 club-level seats. By Comcast Searchlight Channel 888 on your Comcast remote for real estate, automotive, careers, and more. And by your neighborhood Toyota dealers. Toyota, moving forward. Sunday afternoon at the ballpark, no raindrops once this ball game began. Rockies leading 7-3, and that's inside on Adam Lynn. He did miss one pitch. It was a strike, so it's 1-1 on Lynn. He singled and scored in the third inning. Francis has thrown 72 pitches as he works here in the fifth.
In his previous starts, he's been anywhere. His first outing was over 100, and then kind of dropped down a little bit. The neighborhood of 80 to 90 pitches is what he's been able to get through.
And he fools Lynn badly. That is the third strikeout for Jeff. It'll bring up Vernon Wells. Let's answer our AT&T trivia question. Who are the only two Blue Jays to lead the American League in home runs? It's a little surprising because I would have figured maybe Carlos Gonzalez, but it's the prime dog, Fred McGriff.
And Jesse Barfield.
And strongman, Jesse Barfield.
Jesse was a hitting coach for a year, too, with the Texas Rangers.
Did I say Carlos Gonzalez? Carlos Delgado. Carlos Gonzalez, as far as I know, has never played for the Blue Jays.
No. Delgado's still trying to play. Try to rehab that hip.
That's out on Gonzalez. This is Alex Gonzalez. Before I really confuse everybody. 2-0. RBI double for Gonzalez in the third inning.
And the Alex Gonzalez who played for the Marlins and the Cincinnati Reds, Alex Gonzalez.
Right. Two Alex Gonzalez's at the same time playing shortstop in the big leagues. And there was a third. A 1-point baseball. That's a nice play by Clint Vargas. 1-2-3 inning. It took only 8 pitches for Jeff Francis. Middle of 5. Rockies up 4 runs. Third inning, Ryan Spilborgh's at the plate. He got a fastball away, and he drove it out to right center field. Fifth home run for Spilborgh's, our Coors Light Cold Hard Blast. And here's Spilborgh's leading off in the 5th inning against Brian Tallett. That's a strike.
Brian's not overpowering. He's a lot like the guy they just faced in Litsch, but it's from the left side fastball, get up there, 88 to 91. We'll cut it occasionally, slider, changeup.
This ball is well struck. Vernon Wells is not going to be able to reach it. It rolls to the wall. Spilborghs picks up Richie Dower. He's hunting a triple. He's got one easily. First triple of the year for Spilborghs. He is some kind of hot right now.
You can understand why Jim Tracy is riding that hot hand right now and put him in the ball game against this right-handed starter in Litsch. And now this time, just continues his numbers that have been climbing steadily off a lefty. A pitch away from him. Instead of trying to pull it, it stays on it. Hit it over the head of Vernon Wells. When Vernon first took off after that ball, I think he thought he had an opportunity to get that. Ryan, although he slid into third, didn't need to. Just because of the way he hit it and how hard he hit it.
Well, you mentioned it. Spilborghs now 8 for his last 12 against left-handed pitching. Infield in. Stewart at the plate. Ball 1.
Just look for something away if you're Ian and hit the ball to left field or left center field.
How'd that not hit him?
I was just wondering the same thing. Because he tried to back up, tried to do everything. The Hyundai cam will show us how it didn't hit him. He's able to pull those arms in. But sometimes you'll see that jersey flapping a little bit, and then that ball will catch that jersey.
2-1. Stewart, 1 for 1 in a walk, scored 2 runs in the ball game. Got an RBI at third. Stewart with 30 ribbies. Looking to save energy and money. Who isn't? Find out how the little changes add up at TogetherWeSave.com, your local Touchstone Energy cooperative delivering reliable power, energy-saving tools, and more.
Well, the Rockies today 4 for 8 with runners in scoring position. Try to get another one here if you're Ian.
Three and 2. Brian Talent on the hill is from Oklahoma City. Went to junior college and then matriculated at LSU, where he started the 2000 NCAA championship game for the Tigers against the Stanford Cardinal. Teammate, of course, of Brad Hopp. Ryan Theriot, Mike Fontenot swung on and missed. And that's 1 out. Here comes Chris Iannetta. He's 2 for 2 and a couple of RBIs.
He has to have the same approach that he's had his first couple of at-bats. And a little bloop single into center field to drive in a couple runs, and then the hard shot right back up the middle in his last at-bat. Infield in, you got so much space behind the infield and before he gets to the outfielders.
Snap throw, nope. Just a bluff by John Buck. Let's take a look at another Colorado Lottery replay. Chris Iannetta's day at the ballpark. Fell behind early in the first inning, battled back and got one off the end of the bat. They found some empty turf in front of Vernon Wells. That's a 2-run single. And then after again falling behind, he worked the count to 3-2 and hit a bullet up the middle. Play those non-winning scratch tickets, second chance drawing, do it at ColoradoLottery.com. 1 strike count on Chris.
Well, they threw him that hard slider cutter down into the ground the first time. Chris swung over the top of it. Tried to go right back to that same spot. They're trying to get him out in front or keep the ball down so he'll roll over and get the ground ball. What Chris has to do is change the sights of his eye level and make sure that that ball is up, and think about working right center field. When you do that, when a ball comes out of the pitcher's hand low, you see it right away. If your eyesight, you're thinking something up by my letters.
Jim Tracy was talking about Chris Ioannidis today. He was asked about Chris's progress offensively and also about his game calling. And he said he's been impressed with how he's progressed back there. He said we'd love to get Chris hot because we know he's a very productive offensive player if we can get him in a good place. Guy who can hit the ball over the wall, hit the ball in gaps. And he said, and if he does, with obviously as well as Miguel Olivo's played, it will force me to be creative getting him out on the field. Now Chris takes ground balls at third every day. This is a ground ball up the first base line, just foul. The reason I say that, I mean, Ian Stewart's your everyday third baseman, but there could be times if he gets hot. Melvin Moore has done a good job there also.
Or a double switch.
Or a double switch late in the game. You get him in at bat, and he's in the game. And if there was an injury to Olivo, he could slide back behind the plate. But first things first, and that's getting Chris hot offensively. Again, Jim Tracy's searching, trying to find offense where he can for a team that has struggled on O so far this year.
We talked about the way Jim's kind of had to try to juggle the lineup a little bit this year. He's the last guy that wants to be able to do that. But he's had to and been forced to be creative, to go to different people, different spots in the lineup just because it hasn't clicked like he thought it would be now in game 63 on the season.
Well, think about last year when he took over. I mean, he pretty much rubber stamped his lineup every day.
And people are saying, he needs to get back to that. Well, yeah, he would like to get back to it, just can't.
And there's another strikeout, and now it's going to take a 2-out hit.
Well,
or a miscue by Toronto.
I'd put him on with 2 outs in the pitcher spot coming up. I'm not going to let Clint Barmas try to beat me again.
See, those 2 at-bats are what's been frustrating. First for the individual. I mean, Ian Stewart, he doesn't want to punch out. Chris Ioannidis doesn't want to punch out. They know the deal. You got a runner at third base. You got holes everywhere at the infield end. And the good news is the Rockies are up 4 runs, but the old step on the throat and bury him. There's an opportunity. And Spielborgs is still on third base after a leadoff triple, and it's going to be left to Jeff Francis.
Yeah, it's just kind of a microcosm of the season in a way, and the inability at times to do that and put that extra run out there, and a gift run when they're giving it to you infield end.
Well, Jeff Francis comes up. We'll tell you there's only 5 days left for the first prize drawing of the Rocky Mountain Boys and Girls Club raffle. Entry deadline's Thursday, the 17th of June. Go to RockyMountainRaffle.com and sign up for your chance to win $5,000. Francis has hit 2 line drives to left field, and I noticed Adam Lind has moved back about 20, 30 feet.
Well, he's wise because Jeff lined out there and then had that sac fly. Really well shaded over into the gap in the left center.
It's a good swing by Jeff. Didn't get any baseball, but hung in there against the lefty. It's 0-2.
He's throwing him 2 cutters, 86 miles an hour. Go back to a third one or a slider away to slow it down a little bit.
Sack fly in the third. Jeff's first ribby of the year. 7-3 Rockies. They've out hit the Jays 10-5. Good eye. Spilborg's at third, a leadoff triple. They're 2 outs. Barmas is at first after the intentional walk.
John Buck called timeout. Didn't like what he originally had put down for a sign. Here comes that slide. Well, that's what John wanted to throw. They're not quite sure they're on the same page. Tallett's saying throwing a couple of fastballs by him, and he wasn't able to catch up to it. Fouled one off to the left side. The last thing you want to do is speed a guy's bat up.
You know what's coming up after the game, which is just a great thrill for the top seniors in the state of Colorado. The top 50 game. Top 50 baseball game right here at Coors Field. A lot of talent on display. Chance to play in a big league ballpark. And that misses. 3-2. Two and two. I said 3-2. My mistake. Francis had another good at bat.
Nothing else. Big Talent throw a few more pitches.
And here, Mom back in Vancouver. Come on, Boomer. Boomer had a pitch to hit there. That was inner half up and spinning. That was kind of a cement mixer.
Well, one of the few. He's left some pitches up, has talent. But most of the action has been away. A little bit of rotation on that ball. But the head down from Jeff was a very nice swing.
And a ground ball to second. So Talent gives up a leadoff triple to Spilborg. The Rockies do not cash that in, but they've cashed in 7 others. They're up 7-3. And available to anyone. Test drive it today. Tomorrow's an off day for the Rockies. That is always welcome in the midst of the marathon of 162 games. Minnesota and Target Field over the next 3, and then home for the Milwaukee Brewers. Chance to see Prince Fielder, Ryan Braun, Corey Hart, who's had a real good last 4 or 5 weeks. Rockies up 7-3, top of the 6th inning. Drew Goodman, Jeff Houston, Mark Stout, moving around the ballpark. Jeff Francis looking for his second win of the year. He's allowed 3 runs, 2 earned runs. Shift on for Overbay, and this is in the air to Brad Hopp.
It's a nice 1 pitch. Now you're right at the 80 pitch mark for Jeff Francis.
Let's take a look at our Quest high-speed pitch. Brought to you by Quest, the high-speed internet provider of the Rockies. Jesse Litsch, not around long, hit 93. Jeff Francis is topped out at 89. John Buck will be coming up, a double and a ground ball to third. And while we have a moment, Jeff, we congratulate the University of Colorado on moving into the Pac-10 as we've known it for years. Originally Pac-8, it's going to be the Pac something else, maybe even the Pac-16. And we don't want to be. We know we're not the first, but we want to jump on the bandwagon. Let's get baseball in Boulder.
It'd be the only team in the league that doesn't have baseball.
That's right. Even if all those Texas schools end up in there, it would be the Pac-16. Long fly ball to center field. Buck's retired.
I'd just like to be able to have a place for kids of Colorado to be able to play Division I baseball. I know they have it at UNC and of course the Air Force Academy.
Yeah. And you know what? If you kept the majority of kids in this state who go on to play college baseball or sign professional contracts, if you kept them, CU does not really have to leave the confines of the border to field a very solid major college baseball team. They really don't. And that's not just you and I talking. That's in talking to scouts. And
well, we're involved in youth baseball. We see some of those kids around here, how good they are. And some kids are leaving to go to Gonzaga, LSU, Nebraska, and
Stanford.
You keep those kids here, maybe draw a couple from neighboring bordering states. You could have a real nice program that can compete at a high level.
Absolutely. Encarnacion with a 1-1 count. Yeah, there's no doubt. Colorado, not a big state, cold weather state, but a good baseball state.
How much fun would it be to have a CU-USC matchup maybe here at Coors Field?
That's a great idea, Jeff. I mean, and you could go up and down the Pac-10 and say, hey, Southern Cal would draw, and it would draw out to Boulder, but it'd certainly draw here at Coors Field if the Rockies were away. Stanford would draw, Arizona State. I mean, these are tradition-rich programs. Got to play baseball. Here's a fly ball to shallow center. Cargo got a great jump. And that is 7. Check it. That's 7 in a row. Retired by Jeff Francis. to the 6th inning. Time for the Coors Light Freeze Cam. Well, the Rockies have hit the baseball well this afternoon. They have 7 runs on 10 hits. Great to see. That's the Frost Brewed Coors Light Freeze Cam. Top of the order for the Rockies, Jonathan Herrera will lead things off. 4th AB for Herrera. And he'll see a new pitcher. Casey Jansen's out there now. Today's call to the bullpen is brought to you by Comcast Digital Home Phone Service. Warm up to unlimited local and long distance. Call 1-800-COMCAST.
First look at Jansen for the Rockies. He has not appeared in the first 2 ball games here, but he's tied for 3rd among AL relievers with the 4 wins.
Talent did a really nice job. He gave up that triple to Spilborghs, but he stranded him at 3rd. He went 2 2/3, which is longer than Litsch went, the starting pitcher, who went 2 1/3. No runs, 1 hit allowed by Talent.
4 strikeouts. Kind of slowed the game down a little bit for the Rockies offense in Toronto. The only problem is Jeff Francis has been better.
Jeff doing another real solid job.
He is, and think about the inning that he gave up a couple runs. It's only gave up 3 runs, 2 were earned because of the 2 errors.
Aaron Hill will throw out Johnny Herrera, his counterpart today. 1 gone. That'll bring up Todd Help.
Rockies fans, you can follow the Rockies on your phone with MLB.com at bat, featuring highlights and more.
Strike on Helt. Todd, a sharp single to right. Strikeout after a long at bat. And then a fly ball to pretty deep center field. Oh, 0-2.
Jansen fastball 90 to 94 miles an hour. Like a lot of these guys also like to cut it. We've seen it with the first 2 guys, and Jansen's no different. A lot of times that's a philosophy of a particular organization or a pitching coach. You try to teach that and use it as another off-speed pitch.
Two on Help. Rockies 43-25 against the American League since 2006. Far and away the best record in the National League. 4th best overall in interleague play. The only National League team above 500. They're off to another fabulous start this year. They're 4-1 after taking 2 of 3 from Kansas City in the first 2 here. There's another base hit for Help. This is over, I don't want to call it an extended period. We're talking about 3 or 4 games. But over the last few days, Todd's thrown out a good ball game here and there. I think these have been the best series of at-bats. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, right up there anyway, because I think back to the Chicago series, but that was just 2 games where he swung the bat pretty well, and a couple games after that. But these 3 or 4 game stretch here at home, too. It's been kind of all over the place, hitting it to left field, being able to pull the ball, even fastballs in, not getting beat.
But the ball's coming off the bat a little bit.
Yeah, I would agree with that, with the drive he had last night. And it's not the soft type of singles.
Yeah, I mean, again, a foul ball. I mean, you don't usually get excited about a foul ball, but hit a foul ball deep into the seats that just missed the foul pole by a couple of feet. Gonzalez hits one high and deep right field, and this one into the seats. 2-run shot for Cargo. He's the first Rocky in double digits in home runs. That's his 10th. And he's the first Rocky over 40 ribbies.
Yeah, 41 ribbies. When this ball was first hit, I wasn't sure if it was going out. I mean, he hit it, and Carlos sometimes will take that trot. But to go down and get it and drive through it right off the sweet spot. Great shot from the Hyundai cam. Little leg drive and kick, and Carlos knew it in the finish when he hit it.
And the Rockies are up 9-3. Carlos Gonzalez, 10 home runs, 41 RBIs, hitting over 300. He is having an all-star season. Make no mistake.
Yeah, the numbers that he's putting up. And right now, if he keeps it up, there's no way he can't be in the All-Star game.
One and one on Hop. 1-2. It's only the second home run the Rockies have produced from the 3-hole. Tulowitzki had one. And now Carlos Gonzalez.
3 RBIs now today, too, also for Carlos.
And the foul tip is held by John Buck. 2 outs.
More than anything, too, it just gives you that breathing room. With a club like Toronto that can hit the ball out of the ballpark, you're still 9 outs away, but you feel like you could breathe a little bit easier having the 6-run lead.
Well, the Rockies have had an interesting season in that not been able to separate themselves from 500 by more than 4 games. And most of the season it's been a game either side. They've dealt with a lot of injuries and inconsistent offense. Spielborgs takes a strike. It's 1-1.
And the thing I found interesting too today is, if something would have happened and they would have lost this game, it would have been the first losing homestand under Jim Tracy's watch since he's taken over.
And right now, it looks like it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
1-2. And to the point we're talking about, can you remember a game? Obviously, if you look back on 62 ball games prior to today, there's got to be some games where he got away from the Rockies. I just don't remember many. I mean, they're in every game.
Yep. Well, I think, 19 one-run games, or 8 and 11 in those games. And then even the game the other night, they lost by 4 runs. That was on a grand slam late in the ball game on this homestand.
Yeah. I mean,
so it's not like they've been blown out where you just sit there and go, oh, after the second inning, you're sitting there like you're down 10-2 or 11-0.
Three and 2 on Spielborgs. 11 for his last 18 at the plate. 3 doubles, 2 homers. He scored 5 runs. And this ball's whacked with authority to deep right field. And it's gone. Second of the ball game for Spielborgs. Don't touch him. You may scorch your hand. He's a 3-alarm fire right now.
Maybe some of the guys are touching, so maybe that will rub off on him and say, hey, give me a little bit of that power. The 5th career multi-home run game for Ryan. Another pitch away from him. Stays on it, stays through it, and drives it off that auxiliary scoreboard and right.
Sometimes managing's about hunches. And sometimes it's about hunches and crunching some numbers as Stewart gets moved out of the batter's box. Jim Tracy, I mean, it's already, right now it's a lock against the righty that Seth Smith's going to play. And it's nothing that Seth hasn't done right, because Seth has had a very good season also. But Spielborg's so hot that Jim Tracy said, you know what, I don't want to take him out of the lineup right now, even with a righty starting today.
Just looking at the notes, seeing who was going to start for Minnesota on Tuesday, and it's Carl Pavano, another right-hander. I guarantee you Ryan Spielborgs will be in the lineup that day.
3-1 on Stewart. Chance for Giambi to get at bats also. Been in an American League ballpark. This makes it easier for Troy Tulowitzki. He hates watching, but at least he's watching his club up 10-3. 13 hits, and this one is chopped to second base. Well, the Rockies hit a couple of home runs in the inning. Carlos Gonzalez with Todd Helton aboard. And then 2 doors down, Ryan Spilborghs goes deep. 10. Is brought to you by Tri-State Generation and Transmission. Tri-State, the power behind your local electric co-op. By Big Brothers Big Sisters, donate your car, you'll get a free tow and tax break, and you'll help change a kid's life. By the Great Colorado Payback, reuniting you with your money. And by Frost Brewed Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. First pitch from Jeff Francis in the 7th inning. Misses, ball 1. This is Jansen, a pitcher, not a pinch hitter. Cito Gaston was down by 7 runs, saying, you know what, I'm not going to burn up the bullpen. He's got to play a 3-game set in San Diego, so he's going to let Jansen hit.
Yeah, they don't have an off day like the Rockies do tomorrow. They start playing right away. 3-game set with the Padres. I want to blow up my bullpen right now. Joe Beimel and Matt Belisle both up and throwing out in the Rockies bullpen.
7 in a row set down by Jeff Francis. It's 8 in a row. And for Jeff, that's his 4th strikeout. Trying to improve to 2-0 against the Toronto Blue Jays. Chill out this summer with a $1 frozen Coke or a $1 frozen cherry drink from Burger King. $1 frozen drinks, limited time only. The price and participation may vary. Jose Batista pulls it to 3rd. Nice backhand pickup. Long throw by Stewart. 9 in a row set down. Gonna bring up Aaron Hill.
A very economical day for Jeff. In the 20 that he had back in the 3rd. Remember, there was 2 errors made in that game, or that inning, excuse me, to cause that to balloon a little bit. But besides that, right on track.
Rockies began the day 5 games behind San Diego in the NL West. The Dodgers are a game back. Now the Dodgers are losing to the Angels early, 4-1. And the Padres in the 6th inning at Petco tied with Seattle 2-2.
Well, they were up 2-0 after the 1st or 2nd inning off of Felix Hernandez.
A lot of high hopes for Seattle, and they've had a miserable year. I mean, think about it. They felt like they could get some offense with Eric Burns in there, Ken Griffey Jr. Well, they're both now retired. There's a strike.
Yeah, they're 11 games back now, and they're 16 games under 500 starting today's contest. 23 and 39.
Yeah, Milton Bradley has hit a home run for Seattle, his 5th. Tony Gwynn has a home run in the game, his 2nd. On the ground to Stewart. And Jeff Francis with another 1-2-3 inning. 3 in a row. He's retired 10 straight. Look back. Well, in the 3rd inning, Ryan Spilborghs hits the ball out of the ballpark. Remember that shot. You may see it again. 6th inning. Carlos Gonzalez with Todd Helton at first. Hits one out of the ballpark. And there's our man Spilborghs again. Repeating what he had done in the 3rd inning. 5th time in his career that Spilborghs has a multi-home run game. Rockies enjoying a 10-3 lead. That look back brought to you by Cooney Lexus, where luxury has an address. Bottom 3rd of the Rockies lineup, and they've had productivity up and down the lineup today.
7 out of the 8 hitters have had base hits today. The only guy that hasn't is Brad Hoppe, and he's hit the ball hard a couple times.
And Jeff Francis has thrown out a sac fly. 5 runs scored among the top 3 hitters in the lineup: Herrera, Helton, and Gonzalez. Spilborghs has scored twice with the 2 home runs. Stewart has scored a couple of runs. Iannetta has scored a run. Dwayne Wise, who was just brought up by the Toronto Blue Jays with John McDonald on the bereavement list, the veteran John McDonald. Dwayne Wise in center field for Vernon Wells. Jansen's pitch swung through. It's 1-1 on Chris Iannetta. Dwayne Wise forever will be linked to Mark Burley. And one of the great catches, really in baseball history, because of because of what it protected.
Yeah, and the other thing too is he was just put out there that inning for defense too. So yeah,
well, he provided it.
Yeah, well, yeah, but how about that? You know the ball's going to find you whenever you go out onto the field, and he made that catch. Still asked about it a lot today, and why not? Because that was spectacular.
He's no longer obviously with the White Sox. He said he still talks to Mark Burley from time to time. Two and two the count on Iannetta. Chris pops it down the right field line. This is going to be a difficult play. And Hill made a great effort and couldn't quite keep it in the glove.
He ran a long way for that. Just popped out at the last second. He's the only guy that might have an opportunity to catch it, and it hit right off the fingers a little bit. Didn't fall into the webbing of your glove. And that's what he had to look up to, into that sky a little bit. Can't fault the effort being down 10-3. You see a guy still playing hard like that.
Iannetta, a strikeout victim. That'll bring up Clint Barnes. Let's take a look at the Breaks Plus Take a Break poll of the game. Which job, in your opinion, is more difficult? Being on the grounds crew, that's a tough gig, especially when you have inclement weather like we've had. Or one of the conversion crews over at Pepsi Center, turning the ice rink to a basketball court, or vice versa. And it's a very close vote. 59% with the guys that have to work outdoors. Barman's behind 0-2. A couple of doubles and an intentional walk this afternoon for Clint. And Barnes went around. The ball gets away. And Barnes is safe at first.
That was going to be interesting over at first base, because I'm not sure Andy Fletcher would have called it a strike unless Clint Barnes took off running. Hard slider out of the hand. Not a real good attempt by John Buck to try to backhand that one. Why not turn the glove over and try to block it that way? But Clint started to go, and then he said, you know what, I better go ahead and go. Another close play at first, beats it out by half step.
So with one out, it's a strikeout wild pitch. Seth Smith will pinch hit for Jeff Francis. So Francis goes 7 strong innings. He's on the winning side of things. He gives up 3 runs, 2 earned on 5 hits. And he retires the last 10 hitters he faced. And you had talked at the top of the broadcast saying one of the keys for Jeff is when he hits that 75-80 pitch mark, does the ball come up, as we've seen on a couple of occasions this year, and that's where he's gotten hit hard in that kind of that 6th inning area. Today he got stronger.
Yeah, he did. It was at the 3rd or 4th inning is where he had just a little bit of trouble, but after that he just found that groove, found that arm slot, threw 100 pitches today, and it was, I would like to say, an easy 100 pitches. There was a couple times that he had some traffic out there, but whatever he wanted to do, he was able to do.
Smith is gone, 2 outs, and that'll bring up Jonathan Herrera. Herrera is 1 for 4.
The first 20,000 fans at the June 22nd game will receive a Coca-Cola baseball cap.
One count on Herrera. Casey Jansen's out of UCLA. Here's a chance to jump in the record books right here. He has 3 strikeouts already in the inning. What's the most strikeouts somebody could have in an inning?
7.
Infinite.
Well, I can keep going. Yes, you're right. I can't believe I fell for that one.
I wanted to trick you.
Yeah, you did.
Lyle Overbay goes to the bag, and Jansen will have to settle for 3 punch outs. Here comes Franklin Morales, 10-3. The Rockies got 4 in the first. They hit around. Toronto got within a run. The Rockies got 3 in the bottom half of the inning, and they've never looked back. They got 3 more in the 6th. They've hit 3 home runs, Spilborgh's 2, and Carlos Gonzalez, his team-leading 10. 10 runs, 13 hits, a couple of errors for Colorado, 3 runs, 5 hits for Toronto. That's our Comcast game summary. Franklin Morales on here in the 8th inning. Adam Lind will be the first up. 17th appearance for Frankie. 3.46 ERA.
And the thing for Franklin, too, is he's going to have 2 of the first 3 guys that he faces are going to be lefties. And Adam Lind and, of course, Dwayne Wise, who went into the ballgame last half inning for Vernon Wells. Off day tomorrow allows Jim Tracy to use a couple guys down in that bullpen. Make sure you're fresh and ready to go for that Minnesota series.
Well, they're going to be in a really good place in terms of their bullpen. You know who else they've been able to get a lot of rest for that hasn't had a ton of time off? That, you know where I'm going with this, Matt Belisle.
Right.
Left field, Spilborgh's waiting. And Lind is retired. And that'll bring up Dwayne Wise.
And that's something that Jim Tracy talked about a little bit this morning in his press conference. The way the bullpen is used, he makes sure that guys aren't overworked. But it is nice to give the fellas down there a break every once in a while. And then you have one of those games where you do have a 7-run lead. You don't feel like you have to mix and match, get 2 guys going up at one time for the righty lefties. All that, you can just go with an inning at a time if you want to.
This is Wise's first at bat since being called up. He pinch ran against Tampa the other day. It's not his first time, however, in a Jays uniform. He was with the Jays in 2000 and 2002. Good breaking ball. 0-2.
Well, you mentioned he's up for John McDonald, and I think all the hearts and prayers go out to John. His father's battling cancer, and not doing well, so he's at home with his family.
Here's the 0-2. And serve to short. Barnes, great play. He is such a gifted athlete.
Well, what's so nice for Jim Tracy is to be able to slide a guy like Clint Barmas over to the shortstop hole if he had to. A little drop step, looks it in his glove, realizing that Dwayne Wise has good speed, spins and throws. Looks it all the way into the glove, plants and get rid of it so quickly. That's his hand transfer from the ball to the glove, or glove to the hand. It's phenomenal.
Quick, isn't he?
Yeah.
Alex Gonzalez 1 for 3, an RBI double back in the 3rd inning. This Rockies pitching staff has quieted a very potent offense, and an offense and a club overall. So the numbers not as good on the road as at home, but the wins were. They were 17 and 13 when they arrived at Coors Field out on the road. And the Rockies are on the cusp of sweeping the Blue Jays.
But that's where, to me, a lot of the advanced scouting, Chris Warren and all those guys, all the hours they put in looking at these teams and videos and scouting and matchups and where to position guys, pitch sequences, all that, tip of the cap goes to CW down there in the video room and all those guys that put these together.
Pitch just off the plate, 3-1.
Chris held it a little extra half second. Are you sure?
3-2. We talk about Chris Warren, who played minor league baseball in the Rockies system. Went to Howard University. Very good academic school back east. And with an American League club, a club the Rockies don't see a lot of, Chris will watch an American League club for about 2 weeks just to get familiar. It's down the left field line. And Gonzalez will have a double. Lyle Overbay will be coming up with 2 outs. Today's Save of the Week is brought to you by the region's Touchstone Energy Cooperative, your local electric cooperative delivering reliable power, energy saving tools, and more. Visit togetherwesave.com. And it was Manuel Corpus last night. He had a very good 9th inning. The Rockies prevailed 1-0. Just the 9th 1-0 game ever at Coors Field. And think about this, there were none in the first 10 years of Coors Field. And there have been 9 over the last 6 seasons. And the Rockies are 6-3 in those 1-0 ball games. Oh, 2 on Overbay.
94 to 96 on the fastball and come back 73 mile an hour curveball left on left. Just might have ended up outside the strike zone, but the way how much that broke, Todd, it looked like it was a strike.
What is it? 96.
To see him just challenge him with the fastball up a little bit. Just be done with it.
Three and 2.
It was outside the 4 strike zone. Southwest guy can. That's 6 inches off the plate. Set up right on the plate if you're Chris right now. Don't walk this guy.
Fly ball to Spilborghs and left. Nice job by Franklin Morales. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Helton will lead it off. Rockies +7 on the scoreboard. Brought to you by Ecotech Institute in Denver, where you can make the world your workplace. Well, the line scored 10 runs, 13 hits. The Rockies did commit 2 errors. Fortunately, it's not going to, it looks like, affect the outcome of this ball game. 3 runs, 6 hits for Toronto, 3 home runs. Jeff Francis, 7 very fine innings, 5 hits. Just a couple of earned runs, a couple of walks, 4 strikeouts. Retired the final 10 hitters he faced. And Ryan Spilborghs continues to tear it up. There's Mike McCoy. He's in at second base now for Aaron Hill. And Jason Frazier, who we saw on Friday, veteran Toronto Blue Jay reliever.
Jason came in just a third of an inning, gave up a couple hits, 1 earned run, walk, and a strikeout through 15 pitches.
And Helton takes a strike. Todd with a couple of hits and a couple of runs scored today, 2 for 4. Take a look at Helton's afternoon, brought to you by the Colorado Lottery. In the first inning, he ripped the line drive to right. The Rockies had 3 straight hits to begin the ball game, which produced a run. Gonzalez got the RBI, and then another hit in his last at bat. And then he came around on the Gonzalez home run. It's brought to you by the Colorado Lottery. Play those non-winning scratch tickets through the rest of June at coloradolottery.com. 1-2, and that's a 3-hit ball game for Helton. And that has been vintage Helton. I mean, line drives, as you said earlier, from foul line to foul line.
And that one even behind in the count 1-2, he stays on it and he hits it to left field. 4-seamer running off the plate. And the way the head's down and the follow through just shows you, and that was on the line too. It wasn't just one of those soft flares to left field.
Here's Cargo, single and a ribby in the first, couple of strikeouts and a 2-run bomb. Last time up, that's down low. For Todd, that's his first 3-hit game since May 25th. Get his confidence back where it normally is.
Well, I think he's 7 for his last 16.
That's high. 2-1. 3-3 homestand so far for the Rockies, and it looks like they will avert, as you said, Jeff, the first ever losing homestand under Jim Tracy. And this is going back now over a year. That's something else.
And the other thing, too, is you're thinking in this homestand, you look at it, you have the Houston Astros and the Toronto Blue Jays. And you're thinking, oh, the Astros, where they're at, what their record is coming in. Or, I mean, tonight they're 25-38. You're thinking, okay, you can take 3 out of 4 from the Astros, 2 out of 3 from Toronto. And Toronto's going to be the tougher set of games.
That's the first out. Well, who wants tacos, fans? We're going to get tacos tomorrow. If you'd like to receive text message alerts when the Rockies score 7 or more runs for the Rockies Taco Special, text the keyword taco to 95323. Feed your Rockies fever only at Taco Bell. Well, Brad Hopp 0 for 4 today. The Rockies have not needed Brad's offense.
I don't know, he'll be the first guy to say, I don't care about the 0 for 4. We're winning 10-3. We still like to join the hit parade, though.
1-1 count. Rockies came into the ballgame 18-12 at home. In a division where teams have been dominant at home. Padres 20-12, Dodgers 23-12 at home, Giants 21-11 at home. Even Arizona having a tough season, 13 games under 500 so far. They're at 16-16 at home. They got Miguel Montero back today.
That'll help their offense a little bit. Dodgers just finishing up a 14-game homestand, though.
2-2 on Hopp. Arizona, by the way, leading the Cardinals 3-0 down in Phoenix. Zach Greinke got just his second win of the year despite an ERA in the 3s. 7-3 over the Reds today, 3-2. Texas got another home run from Josh Hamilton, his 15th of the year.
Rebound year for him.
Yes, I think he's healthy. Again, 7-2, they beat Milwaukee at Miller Park. Giants leading Oakland in the Bay Series 4-1 in the 7th inning. Outside, Hopp goes to first, and Helton goes to second. Take a look at our job done right player of the series. Guess who? Ryan Spilborg, who's had an enormous series. 7 for 11, 3 home runs, a triple. He has been fantastic. Job done right player of the series presented by the Colorado Association of Mechanical and Plumbing Contractors. To have your next building or service project done right the first time, visit jobdoneright.org. Hasn't had a 3 home run game yet in the big leagues.
Why not now?
Quality hat.
But right there, even with that swing and hitting a couple home runs, still tried to stay inside the baseball. He didn't jump out of his shoes trying to pull the ball to left field. Two
on, 1 out. Spilborg's against Jason Frazier. Angels now up 5-1 on the Dodgers in the 5th inning.
The fans, get your tickets now for the July 3rd fireworks game. These fireworks are sponsored by Coca-Cola and King Soopers.
Last Rocky to have a 3-home run game, Larry Walker against the Indians in Cleveland. I remember it. June 25th, back in 2004. 11 times a Rocky individual player has gone deep 3 times in a game. If I remember right, that ball game went extra innings at what was then Jacobs Field. It went 10 innings.
So what's it called now?
I can't keep up.
I was thinking of it Jacobs Field.
Is that Progressive now?
It might be. Kind of like the one down in Florida. Trying to keep up with that name.
Yeah, we thought it was Landshark. They changed it again.
Yeah.
They change it every 6 months.
Yeah, Progressive Field.
In honor of you, when we go down there, I'm going to call it Huey Stadium.
Sounds good to me.
You like that?
Yeah, I like it a lot.
Family will be there. They'll think it's really special. I don't know if we'll get the, the full. We can't get the full effect because I don't know if we'll be able to put up, a big sign on the side of the stadium. But on the broadcast, I'll refer to it as Huey Stadium.
I like it.
3-2 with 1 out. Helton at second, Hop at first. 10-3 Colorado. And that's a bullet to third. And Mike McCoy evidently came off the bag.
He juggled the ball because the way Encarnacion caught the ball and then had to throw it back over the head basically of Todd Helton at second, it was lost by McCoy. Line shot off the bat of Ryan. And here's what happened to Mike. He just couldn't quite see it until the last instant. Kicked off the heel of his glove.
It's about the only way you get Spilborghs out right now. A bullet at somebody, an atom ball.
Well, even think back into the first inning when he hit that ball to right field. He hit it pretty well.
Yeah, you're right. Stewart today is 1 for 3 in Milwaukee. He scored 2 runs. 2 outs in the 8th. Repair that chip in your windshield. Call Safelite Elite Auto Glass 303-287-5000, online at safelite.com. Yankees beat up Houston again 9-5. Detroit beat the Pirates 4-3. 2-1. Strasburg gets the win as Washington beats Cleveland 9-4 at Progressive Field. Strasburg goes 5 1/3, allows a run on just 2 hits. Struck out 8, walked 5. Second start. Mets over Baltimore 11-4. That's a strike. Philadelphia getting a little bit of its pride back after being hammered at Fenway the first 2 ball games of the weekend. They went 5-3 today. That's Cole Hamels.
Well, they got some starting pitching.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Blanton gave up 9 yesterday, and Jamie Moyer gave up 9 on Friday.
Pretty tough to recover from that.
Wise makes the catch. We'll go to the 9th inning. Rockies looking for 3 more outs, and then a sweep of the Blue Jays. Matt Bly. unlimited local and long distance. Call 1-800-COMCAST. By Dex One, marketing solutions, business results. By Geico, 15 minutes can save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by Burger King, home of the Whopper. The rain has stayed away, and the Rockies are 3 outs away from a sweep of the Blue Jays. They have a comfortable advantage, 10-3. Drew Goodman, Jeff Houston. Mark Stout also in the ballpark this afternoon. John Buck will lead things off. Tom Helmer standing there waiting. He's got his rain gear on.
Well, you never know. The way this weekend's gone, we may need it. It's definitely cold out here. Coming on the postgame report, we'll talk about Canada. Nice series here for the Rockies as they beat up on Toronto a little bit. Also for Ryan Out Loud, Ryan Spilborghs goes off today and catching fire. Chris Iannetta has a great game as well. We'll talk about both of those guys, plus much more in the Rockies postgame report. Drew.
Tom, I get that the Canada and for Ryan Out Loud is very good. I think this is some of your best stuff today.
Say that again?
I think that's some of your best stuff today.
Well, I tried to bring my A game today. I'm trying to, get it's interleague play. I'm trying to kick it up a notch. We're heading to Minnesota. Trying to give all I got.
You have done that.
Thank you.
You certainly exceeded expectations.
Well, that's good. Maybe expectations were too low.
No, they're very high.
Okay,
they're very high.
I'm all right with that.
Tom, have a good post-game show.
Thank you. Enjoy the last 3 outs of this one.
Hopefully it'll happen quickly. John Buck against Matt Belisle.
Tom puts a lot of thought into those.
He does. They're funny.
Yes.
They're very witty, and Tom is, as you all know, a very, very witty guy. 28 appearances now for Matt Belisle. Buck is 1 for 3. 1-1 count. Rest of the scoreboard. Florida beats Tampa 6-1 this afternoon. And Atlanta got 2 more home runs from Troy Glaus. They beat Minnesota 7-3 at Target Field. Boy, the Braves are hitting the baseball. Second right now in the National League in run score.
Yeah, and it helps when you have your big horse like Glaus, who they signed in the offseason to come in and who struggled in April, and then all of a sudden May rolled around, the change of the calendar, and he took off.
Yeah, he's kind of struggled for a while.
Yes. Some injuries here and there. You think back to that shoulder, missed some time with the Cardinals.
Swung on and missed. Belisle strikes out Buck.
Well, it's nice to see from Matt. 92-mile-an-hour fastball in the forward strike zone. Everything down at the knees and away from John Buck. He hasn't pitched since he gave up the grand slam the other day to Houston. That was in the 10th inning.
Edwin Encarnacion with a 1-strike count.
The Rockies pitchers in this whole series have really used their breaking pitch a lot to set up the fastball to keep the Blue Jays hitters off balance. They've also gone down and then raised the eye level up with that fastball. A lot of swing and misses upstairs.
Good swing and miss, 2-2. Rockies won in 6 innings, 5-3 on Friday. Very difficult conditions. Jimenez got the win. And then the 1-0 shutout behind 8 strong from Jason Hamill and Corpus in the 9th yesterday. And just 2 earned runs allowed so far in this ball game in 8 1/3. The Rockies team ERA coming into this ball game 4th in the National League at 3.62. In addition to that, they'd allowed the 3rd fewest hits in the National League. Three and 2.
I think you're starting to see now that the way the pitchers want to follow each other with a good performance. One just kind of builds on the other.
It's popped up out of play again.
When we talk about hitting being contagious, well, the pitchers feel the same way. They want to go out there and do just as well as the guy that preceded them.
Sure. And they've allowed only 6 hits today. The team batting average against the Rockies staff, I mean, it's always very high because a lot of hits at Coors Field. It's 246, which is tied for the second lowest in the National League. Not just missed. Ball 4. The only team that has allowed a lower batting average, the Padres, who play their games at Petco, where bats go to die.
What I'd like to start to see, though, is some of these pitchers starting to get credit for pitching here at Coors Field, because how many times do we hear it when we're out on the road? Oh, well, they play, as far as a hitter goes, oh, they play at Coors Field. Well, if that's the case, then why aren't the pitchers getting more credit? I know Ubaldo is, but everybody else.
Yeah, that's a base hit to center field from Mike McCoy. Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And it's frustrating and exasperating at times when people come in and they haven't done their homework on Coors Field. They haven't done their homework on the Rockies pitching staff. Rockies have allowed the fewest home runs in baseball. Aaron Hill hit a home run against Jimenez on Friday. They're stuck on 99 still. They had 18 more home runs coming into this series than any other club in baseball. And the Rockies pitching staff at Coors Canaveral, right?
Right.
So allowed 1 home run.
Well, with guys like Vernon Wells, Gonzalez, Batista. The next closest team is Boston with 83, Cincinnati 77 as far as home runs. Milwaukee, Arizona both tied at 76.
Here's the home run leader, Batista. 2 on and 1 out. Here's something else. Just a little bit more on the Jays' home run power. 53 home runs in May. That's more than, just in May alone, they hit 53 home runs. That's more than 13 teams have for the season currently. Rockies have hit 59 this season, which is 13th in the big leagues. Fourth strike zone had that one on the edge. The home plate umpire Todd Tishner did not.
Well, you would think in a 10-3 ball game that wouldn't be so tight with the zone. I mean, especially when they're hitting the strike zone. I mean, that's 2 in the 4th strike zone. Instead of being 3-0, it should be 1-2. I don't get it sometimes.
Three and 1. And 3-2.
And now the other thing that's had to happen because of a couple of those pitches, Randy Flores had to get up and start throwing out in the bullpen for the Rockies. There might be a case where Randy's just getting a little work in with the off day tomorrow. He's a veteran guy. He understands. Just go out there and throw about 50-75%.
Well, you're right. He's smart, but if it goes a couple hitters, you don't want Belisle, having a 30-35 pitch outing.
Right. Well, and the other thing is, the next guy up would be the pitcher spot, and Jeremy Reed's got a bat out there. You don't want Matt to go past the 25 to 28 pitch mark on a typical day, so he could be able to come back the next day. But with Reed lefty, then you got Lynn and Dwayne Weiss, 3 lefties in a row. Jim might make that move.
3-2, and this is a pop fly to shallow right. Herrera has it for out number 2. Jeremy Reed will be the pinch hitter. 2 outs in the 9th. Toronto on to San Diego. The Rockies will have tomorrow off. They'll head to Minnesota late in the day. Get ready for a 3-game set against the Twins. Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday midday. They have a high noon appointment on Thursday with the Twins.
How about that matchup on Thursday?
Jimenez and Francisco Liriano.
Maybe a little bit better conditions for Ubaldo in that start. New outdoor stadium in Minnesota.
Reed went around. 2-strike count.
Another breaking pitch down into the dirt.
Here's the 0-2. We're moving to third on the ball in the dirt is Encarnacion. We did check that out with Tim McClellan at third base. He said no swing.
Over the top curveball. Just blocked it and off to his left. Encarnacion was able to move up to third. Boy stayed at first.
Here's the 1-2. McCoy takes second.
No stolen base indifference.
The ball game as Belial strikes out. Jeremy Reed. Rockies win it 10-3. They have swept the Blue Jays. And after a disappointing 4-game series against Houston, they end up 4-3 on this homestand. And the native of Vancouver, British Columbia, has defeated the Toronto Blue Jays for the second time in his career. Our Jimmy John's delivery of the game. Jeff Francis, 7 very strong innings. He retired the final 10 hitters he faced. He mixed it up, change up, breaking ball, spotting his fastball. Just 5 hits against Francis today. And the big lefty is now 2-2 on the season. Jesse Litsch returns to the big leagues after Tommy John surgery. He'll have better days. He falls to 0-1 as he lasts just 7 outs in the ballgame. For the Rockies, it's their second sweep of the season. They swept Arizona back in